afternoon class. Welcome to spelling class. Let's work on unit 3, the goat herder and the wild goats. A goat herder is a person that takes care of the goats on the prairie or on the mountains, and if they are mountain goats, cabras de montaña. So herder is the person that takes care of the goat. Is in Spanish is el pastor de las ovejas, the goat herder. Okay, page 26. Let's read this. If you're reading, because I need other kids to read here, remember that in the first part, we find words that are in the vocabulary, okay? So if you're reading, said, I already read, please. Maria Jose, you reading? Yes or no? Yes. Isa, you reading? Victor, you reading? Victor, you reading?
Yes, in reading.
Yes, in reading?
Yes, con la palabra que me corrigió.
Okay. Santiago, you reading?
Yes, miss.
Kristen?
Yes, miss.
Adriana? I think you were absent in reading. Okay, no, read this part, Adriana.
Okay.
What are you reading? I underline. One winter,
everything.
Evening.
A goat
Herder
was leading his goat back
Say the
home.
S. Look at this word has an S. His goats
back home. A snowstorm has begun. And he knew it would.
No, you have that letter L is a silent letter. He would.
And he would.
It would.
Would no
be
a cold, nasty night.
Okay, he knew it would be a cold, nasty night. Why a cold, nasty night? Because a snowstorm had begun. A snowstorm. Continue.
Hitting the ghost to safety will be in
urgent task. Okay, getting the goats to safety would be an urgent task. Why? He needs to move the goats to a safe place because a snowstorm had begun and he knew it would be a cold, nasty night. That's why goats needs to be in a safe place. Now, Ivana, you read? You reading?
In reading?
Yeah.
In reading, I read.
You read, past tense, leí. Okay. Jose Enrique, did you reading?
No.
Okay, read this part.
As quickly. Read the animal.
Led. Okay, sorry. Class, tell me, ¿se ve muy pequeña la letra?
No.
¿No? Bueno,
¿No?
depende que en qué dispositivo trabajan.
Se ve mediana.
Si trabajan en un teléfono, sí, quizás se ve muy pequeña porque me doy cuenta que ustedes dicen otras palabras. Y eso me llama la atención, porque yo lo puedo leer bien, pero a veces ustedes me dicen otras palabras, entonces sí me hace pensar, ¿será que se ve muy pequeño? Pero claro, también afecta si usted trabaja con un teléfono. La pantalla es más chica a que usted esté con una laptop o una computadora. Ok, José Enrique. Read, please.
Read as quickly he led the animals into the barn. The goat
Hater, the goat hater, noticed
than three wild goats
wild
and had joined his
Where are you reading? The wild goats stood out
out because they were not as attractive as his.
Okay. Okay. The wild goats stood out because they were not attractive at his. Okay. So he has barn goats and also has wild goats, but says that they are not attractive. Jose Sebastian, you read, right? Okay, who else? Iris, did you read in reading?
Yes.
Yeah. Alan, did you read in reading?
Yes.
Swag? Did you read in reading? Hello, Swag. Microphone. Did you read in reading? Yes. Let's see who else. Daniel, did you read in reading?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes, Miss.
Hazel? I want to know if you already read today. Did you, Hazel? I think she did. Diego, did you read in reading?
No.
Hazel, yes or no?
No.
No, okay, Hazel, read this part. And then Diego.
He always kept his goats clean and feed them well. The wild goats were tangled and
Dirty.
and their bodies were skinny. The next day, he could not take the goats out to graze in the fields because snow covered the ground.
The ground, exactly. Snow covered the ground. Diego.
The suddenly the goat had an idea. If he
Fed.
the wild goats will get in keep them clean. Purpose they would consent to stay with his herd.
Herd is the group of animals. The group of goats is a herd. Okay, let's see who else. Melanie, did you read?
In reading, yes.
Gabriel, I know that Gabriel hasn't. Gabriel, read please.
That word meant that he
Would.
would hate
Okay, sorry.
more.
Wait, please. In the word of would and could, and this is something I mentioned since the beginning of the classes. Would,
That would mean
sorry, wait.
that we,
Would, could, this word has a silent letter. The silent letter is the letter L. So the letter L doesn't, you don't have to pronounce it. So it's would, like this one, like would. Sounds like this. Would, could, no L, okay? No L in these words. The L is a silent letter. Would, could, okay? That would
mean that he would have more goat milk and more goat cheese, more milk and cheese,
mint,
more money in his pocket than he could fit up his house, could fit up his house and buy new clothes to replace his old
shabby
ones.
Shabby, say the word.
Shabby ones.
Shabby ones.
Shabby ones.
Okay. Christopher, read the rest.
That would mean that he would take more goat milk and more goat cheese, more milk and cheese, need more money in his pocket. Then he could pick up in his house and buy new clothes to replace his old um,
But you read exactly the same. I said read the rest. The extra food and care had the very thought made him jiggle.
with
Pleasure. Jiggle is a smile. He laughed with pleasure. The extra
food and care would do not be used and burden with that will provide him with
provide.
all
If you
money.
said only provide, you are not reading the last letter D. Provide is like this. Look, Alan. You have to be watching the camera, watching the screen, because if you are not watching, you are not following the reading. Provide is like this, but if it has a letter D at the end, it's provided. Provided. You have to be careful with letters D, with verbs in the past, and when a word finishes with S, because you don't used to pronounce the S. Ustedes no suelen pronunciar las S's. Se las comen. So you have to be very careful with those pronunciations. And read slow. You don't need to run. When you read slow, you pronounce the words better. Daniel, did you have a problem with your camera? Is there another student missing to read? Is there another student missing to read? No? Okay. This is how the sound made by goats. May, isn't it time to eat? He heard the goats asking. When he looked into the feed bin, however, the goat herder saw that he was low on his supplies of oats, son hojuelas, oats. He looked at his old goat herd. He had cared well for them all their lives, or their lives. They would follow him and stay loyal and dependable, no matter what, he told himself. That's when he decided to give the wild goats generous portion of and feed his own herd tiny portions. Okay, that's when he decided to give the wild goats. Remember that he had his goats and wild goats. The wild goats were not as pretty as theirs. And says that he decided to give to the wild goats generous portion, and to his own goats, small portions, tiny portions. One day of less food wouldn't hurt his well-fed goats. After the goat herder fed the animals, he brushed the wild goats' rough, knotted coats. He ignored his own herd since he had brushed their coats the previous week. After he finished, he could barely tell the difference between his own herd and the three wild goats. The next morning, the sun shone. Shone is the past tense of shine. Okay, so because it's talking about something that already passed. The next morning, the sun shone bright and warm. All the ice that had been on the ground had thawed or melted, se derritió, and the snow had melted. The goat herder opened the barn to take the goats. The pasture, no sooner did the animals leave the barn that the wild goats began running away. The goat herder response was immediate. Wait, stop. Haven't I treated you well? Why don't you stay with my herd? Your life will be so much better. The biggest goat said, we decided to leave last night. We feel you don't qualify as a good caretaker. Why not? Didn't I feed you well? Yes, but you didn't feed your own herd in the same way. That kind of
Miss, may I go to the bathroom?
yes, you may. That kind of neglect would indicate only one thing. You will not feed us well after we stay with you for a while. But I brushed your coats and cleaned you up so nicely. We are wild goats, and we do not care. We do not care for vanity. Being dirty is comfortable for us. Besides, we prefer our freedom. And so the three wild goats went their own way. To the goat herder had to be content with his original herd. So what is the moral? The goat herder tried to treat these three wild goats better. This herd, okay, has three wild goats, and has his own goats. So he decided to treat these three goats better. So he thought these goats will stay with him. But the goat says, no, because you gave us a different treat. You gave us a different treat. You treat us better than your own goats. And that's not possible. So that's why they decided to leave. Now, next page. Let's read the definitions. Attractive. The number one, attractive, pleasing to the eye. So something that is beautiful is a pleasure to see it, or is a pleasure to listen to it, or is a pleasure to eat it. Okay? So something that is attractive to our senses. Is attractive to our eye, to our mind, to our senses, having the power to draw attention. That's another definition, right, Jose Sebastian? So the jewelry is plain but attractive. So remember that these lines have to be completed using the vocabulary word, this word. So here, what are you gonna write? Attractive. And this is a definition as an adjective. What is a synonym for attractive? Appealing, likable, charming, beautiful. The next, antonyms. What is an antonym for attractive? Unappealing, unpleasant. Unpleasant is something that is not, what did you do in Isabella? Unpleasant is something that you don't like to eat, you don't like to listen, you don't like to see, because it's unpleasant. Unpleasant is this disagreeable, is offensive, okay, like screams, like a very loud noise, is offensive to our ears. It's not attractive, it's not a pleasure to listen to it. Second word, burden. As a noun, burden, something that is carried, is a load, like your backpack could be a burden. Before, when you attended the school, every single day. When you go to school, something that is very hard to bear, muy difícil de soportar, something that is very hard to bear. Mules are sometimes called beasts of burden, bestias de carga. This is so mules sometimes are, most of them, or sometimes are called like this, beast of burden, bestias de carga. So burden is that, is a load. As a verb is to weight, is pesar, to weigh down or put too heavy a load on. The sentence, the example says, I am sorry to burden you with all of these heavy packages. Packages, this word, okay? Packages, packages. Packages. If I don't have a letter S, it's package. But because it doesn't have an S, it's packages. So that's what I said before. You have to be careful pronouncing the letter S. Synonyms: a weight, baggage, a difficulty, hardship, worry. As a verb is to afflict, oppress. José Sebastián, what are you looking at? ¿Qué mira? Usted siempre está viendo a un lado. ¿Qué hay ahí a ese lado suyo? ¿Una televisión? ¿Alguien jugando? ¿Adultos platicando? ¿Qué hay? Usted siempre está viendo para ese lado. Antonyms for burden, a relief. Relief es un alivio. Claro, if you have a heavy load on you, and when you unload that, you feel relief, se siente aliviado. To relieve or lighten. Lighten is opposite of heavy. Lighten is liviano. Consent, to agree to or approve. Consent. To give permission. When you say, Miss, may I go to the bathroom? I say, yes, I give you my consent. I give you permission. So my parents would not consent. My parents would not consent to my staying up late. As a noun is approval or permission. The teacher needs our parents' consent so that we can go on the class trip. Synonyms: to allow, to permit, to accept. As a noun is an agreement. Yo estoy de acuerdo. Yo doy mi autorización. Authorization is a noun. As an antonym is disapprove, refuse, deny, disallow. As a noun is refusal, denial. Those are antonyms. Next. Now, word number 4. Dependable, capable, or being relied on. Trustworthy, dependable. Okay, a taxi driver needs a dependable. Remember that you have to complete the lines using the same word given by the vocabulary, right, Alan? You're not completing the lines. I can see you in the camera. A taxi driver needs a dependable car that always starts. A car that works. Okay, a car that is in good condition, even in bad weather. That's very important. Synonyms: reliable, responsible. Antonyms: unreliable, undependable, untrustworthy. Indicate, to point to or point out. To be a sign of, to state or express briefly. The nurse told me that a skin rash may indicate an allergy or an insect bite. A synonym for indicate is to mark, show, signify, suggest, announce, and antonyms is to conceal. Next. The next page. Remember that you have to complete the lines using the word given. The word giving. This one. Previous. Coming up before in time or order. Previous. So what is the previous day of today?
Previous.
Previous. What is the previous day of today?
Tuesday.
Yes, Tuesday, because today is Wednesday. So the previous day is Tuesday. Our teacher asked us to turn back to the previous page in the story. So what is the previous page in this one? The page we already asked. Next one, qualify, verb, to be or become fit for something, to limit or narrow the meaning of. Qualify, you must be 18 years old to qualify to vote in a national election. Okay, synonym is to authorize, entitle, prepare, suit, to modify. Yes? No? Okay, let me finish. Response, a replies or answer, a reaction to something. My sister is still waiting for a response to her letter. An acknowledgement. The next one, shabby. Shabby is worn or faded from use or wear, dressed in worn out clothes, not fair or generous. The child shriver in the shabby old coat. In the shabby old coat. Though, to melt. Esto es derretir or cause, to melt, to warm up gradually. Though. Let the turkey dough in the refrigerator before you cook it. When we are going to cook something, when we're gonna cook something, meat is frozen, so we need to melt, let it melt, because it's frozen. How are we gonna cook a chicken if it is as hard as a rock? We need to let it melt. That's dough, melt. We had an early dough morning. We have an early dough in January. The next one, urgent, needing or demanding immediate attention or action or attention. The fire department answered an urgent call for help. Next one, which is the last one, vanity, the quality of being stuck up, vain, having too much pride, tener mucho orgullo, pride, in one's looks or abilities, addressing table, vanity. So what is it? Vanidad. A person displays vanity can be very annoying. Cuando una persona es muy vanidosa, sometimes is annoying. Algunas veces es molesto. Synonym, arrogance. Antonyms, modesty. Okay, did you complete the lines?
Yes.
Yes.
2 pages, I need them in Schoology. So apparently, look how many students I have. I already checked all of my kids, but now I miss one. Al principio de la clase estaban todos, ahora me falta uno. Me falta uno, porque ustedes son 19.
Gabriel.
Más personas somos 20. Gabriel is here. Vamos a ver. Okay, let me check that.